So speaking of like the press and marketing and things like that, what does your marketing look like for green vegan bags? How are you reaching out to your audience? How are you getting the word out about your awesome, awesome marketplace?
Well, marketing is like a trial and error thing, as I'm sure you know. So every business is different. So what works for one business might not work for another. And you kind of have to try a lot of different things. Advertising is really not enough ever. So I have done a lot of advertising. But in addition, like doing a podcast, also working, being a bit PETA business friend, getting out in their newsletters, getting into gift guides, going out in the community, doing, I've done a couple of in-person sales at a couple of different places. Just, I think getting out and meeting people is extremely powerful. It's more powerful than people realize. And then having other people that spreading the word of how much they love your bags, that's very powerful. So you kind of have to combine all of these things and keep coming up with new innovative ideas of how to get the word out about your company. So it's an ongoing process. It's always evolving. Like, what else can I do? What else can I do?
Yeah, you really nailed it. Marketing is all about trial and error because it is true. You have to try different things, see what sticks, see what's working for your brand at that time. I know frequently we'll look at bigger brands and think, oh, well, I'll just do what they're do, but they're at a different level and that's not the same. Like what's working for a very big brand that everybody knows the name of, not necessarily going to work for a smaller brand. So back to what I said earlier, brilliant on you calling your business vegan green bags, or was it, wait, yeah, green
Green
vegan
vegan.
bags because so I started my career as a web designer, a web developer. So I'm still super into like old school hardcore SEO. When I saw that name, I'm like, girl, you kind of own the space there. Because if I just search on Google for green vegan bags, I mean, you're going to show up because you have the URL. And people
Yeah.
don't realize that all the time. They try and come up with some super clever name. And then you're like, well, nobody's ever going to search for that kind of name. So especially with something like you, I thought, whoa, she knows what she's doing. And then, like, I saw you were using a Shopify site. I'm like, good for you. You really, laid the groundwork. So I think, again, from the outside, it looks, wow, she really just nailed it from the get-go. But let me ask you, because there's always what do you think's your biggest challenge that you faced since starting this company?
I think that the biggest challenge has been since I started the company has been knowing has been actually what we talked about was knowing what works for your company. Certain things like the name of my site, which I'm, I'm glad to hear you say that because it obviously was intentional. And I was thinking the same thing that you were thinking, when I was seeing other sites was like, how's anyone going to find them, Um, which is another problem in the vegan space. But I think the biggest obstacle has been finding out what is going to work for your brand and your company. Again, because it's trial and error. So you're going to, any company is going to spend time and money on things that don't work. And that's just part of it. I mean, you just kind of have to know that if you don't try something, you're not going to know if it works or not. So you figuring that out, and I think that now I'm kind of at a place where I'm figuring that out. So that's one thing, and the other obstacle that I've had is patience. So having patience to just keep taking the steps and like knowing that all of this takes time, that's patience with just there's not enough hours in the day, as I'm sure you know, to get everything done. So knowing that I'm not going to get everything that I need to do done today, I need to have patience that this is going to take longer. This project's going to take longer than I want it to take, which also means that the visibility is going to take longer than it might, I might want it to. Or the results that I'm trying to get from whatever my actions are going to take longer than I want it to, because that's just how it goes.
That is so true.